Hi, Virgo. So I'll show you the cards quickly. Wow, at first glance, it's a very beautiful spread. 10 of Cups, the happily ever after card. I don't call it the happy family card anymore because not everyone's happily ever after includes a like children and stuff. So 6 of Cups, nostalgia, looking back, friends from the past. The King of Pentacles, the Queen of Pentacles, Judgment, our harvest in this. Yeah, so that again, making decisions about how we're going to move through life, maybe a reawakening. I'm sorry, I forgot to turn my email off, so it's dinging. The Wish card, the 10 of Swords, the 3 of Cups, and the Queen of Wands. Lovely, lovely cards. So let me just look for a second. So at the very top, we have the 10 of Cups. And so I'm already going to echo what I said about the Hermit card. You know, what is your happily ever after? What is that? What does that look like to you? So I think that's what this card is asking you. And the caution I always have with this card is you know, that keeping up with the Joneses, like that's a bunch of crap. Don't worry about you know, the wife and kids and 2.4 or wife, husband and wife and 2.4 kids and all that, you know, the house in the suburbs and the minivan and all that stuff. If that's not what interests you, like, you know, you have to decide and be strong from it in and decide what your happily ever after is like. And it may be vastly different from what everyone else in your family does or all your friends do. And that's okay as long as it's happy. And sometimes I think just giving yourself permission to be happy and be okay with where you are, even if it's not where you thought you would be or where your family or society thinks you should be or thinks it should look like. So I really like that card because I feel like with the Hermit here, people are really starting to make some decisions about what's important to them. So, but with that in mind, I see a couple paths here, which is pretty interesting. On this path, I do see children. So maybe for some of you out there, you're weighing, you know, do I want kids or not? Do I want, you know, what do I want? And it's really interesting because mirroring on this side is this sort of wealthy man. So if you don't have kids, you'll be rich. No, just kidding. But I was just joking. It's also can be the card of nostalgia, and the caution I always have with this card is just to remember that we don't always remember things as they really were. And if you could transport yourself back in time, you know, it may not be as great or as terrible as you remember. But it's a beautiful lesson to try to recapture that joy and appreciation of the simple things in life that we appreciated when we were children. You know, that's one of the best ways to try to de-stress and calm down and get out of our heads, is to just realize how lucky we are to be here every day and that we're healthy and alive and have a job and all those simple things. And we have the Queen over here. I really feel like this is a grandmother for some reason. And I don't know why, because I never read it that way. But I feel like with the King and Queen of Pentacles out here, there's like a strong connection to family this week. I guess that's what I'm already seeing. And Maybe some people will see their grandparents or feel their presence or have memories about their grandparents and remember those lovely times as something that you want to bring into your life or your children's life or your family life. And maybe also thinking about things like legacy and what mark you want to leave on the world. Again, that's sort of that energy from that Hermit card. How do you want to conduct yourself in this world? What kind of legacy do you want to leave behind? And the Ten of Swords really is an end to negative thinking patterns that are not productive in any way and maybe holding us back or pinning us down. The traditional Rider-Waite Smith version of this card is someone with 10 swords in their back, and often they're on the ground, like rock bottom, which is kind of interesting because the swords are in the ground here too in this deck, but swords cards are usually, they're air, right? So they're usually up in your head, they're up. So this is sort of like your thoughts have just gone kind of as low as they can go, and now it's time to build yourself back up, to get rid of those negative thoughts are what brings you down. So replace those. And what do you want to replace them with? Well, the Queen of Wands is a great energy to bring in if you've been a little bit down, because she's so fiery and she's going to tell you to go for things and to be excited about things. And she's passionate and creative and just lots of energy. And she's going to, instead of be up in her head, she's going to do things and make sure she's living and actually living in the world and not living sort of in her head with any nostalgia. I feel like for some of us, maybe we are just missing a loved one. Maybe your grandmother you're feeling. So any grandmother is going to tell you the best thing that is going to make her happy is for you to live your life and be happy. Now I like to look at this side of the spread. Here's the King of Pentacles. So he's the one that really thinks about legacy from a very early age and making a home. I happened to catch part of My Big Fat Greek Wedding. I love that movie. It's so funny. I can't wait for the new one to come out. And, I just think about, if you haven't seen that movie, I'm sorry, but if you think about the father, the lead character's father, with all his little idiosyncrasies and meddling of that family, like the beautiful legacy and how much he came here with no money to make a better life for his kids. And it's just sort of that type of beautiful energy. And of course, the dysfunction's just part of being human, right? And then we have the Wish card over here, which is kind of interesting. I feel like it's out of place in this spread this week for some reason, because I feel sort of a very grounded energy for some reason. But this card is to me echoing a similar message as the Six of Cups, and that is instead of, I believe our wishes are being granted all the time, and we're so used to just wishing for things, and it's often little things, but sometimes big things, like I hope I do good on that test, I hope I get a parking space, I hope, I wish, please, blah, blah, blah. And the minute we're over that little mini crisis, we're we've completely forgotten about it if everything turns out okay, instead of remembering to be grateful, maybe your wish was granted, but you think it's by chance, or we just don't realize it, and we're on wishing for the next thing. So kind of opening our eyes and being present and being grateful for the small things um, helps us realize how much our wishes are coming true. And then there's a card here, the Three of Cups, and this is about emotional support. It can be about going out with friends and celebrating. So some of you may find yourself at some sort of gathering this week. But it's a emotionally supportive group of people. So maybe that's what you're wishing for. Um, I'm sorry. This card just seems really. This Nine of Cups and this Three of Cups kind of feels out of place for some reason in the reading. This side of the reading is like so grounded and um, different than this sort of more airy wishing cards. Maybe it's the hoping of some people coming together and reconciling um, this week, and that's happening. Maybe there's been sort of a family situation where some people have not been getting along, and you're sort of ready for people to sort of bury the hatchet or stick the swords in the ground. Stop the negative thinking and sort of move on and come back together again. In the center of the whole reading is the Judgment card, and it's called Harvest here. But this card is really about sort of mirroring that Six of Cups and that wish card of waking up and sort of coming to the realization that how you were thinking about things or going about things really wasn't suiting you. It wasn't helping you with how you want to live your life. And, when this card comes up, you are no longer going to live the same way you did before. And it can be a big thing or a subtle thing, but it's going to have a profound effect. And I think, that Hermit card at the bottom of the deck, that energy really leads to this card. And then after you have the World and you everything sort of comes full circle. So I think for some people, there's going to be a lot of thought about family, what's really important in this world, how our thoughts are affecting how we live and how we interact with people, and what legacy do we want to leave? How are we going to conduct ourselves in this world? How do we treat the people around us? And I feel like this Queen of Wands is really a key to helping get our mind in a better, get our mind around all these questions and conducting ourselves in the world in a way that really matches what we think we want, but how we think we are and act and interact with people isn't always how we actually, of course we're all good people, but I was really snappy to that waitress, or I was really rude to, when you think about it, I let that person get me upset, and my actions really weren't appropriate for the situation. And this Queen of Wands is going to sort of, let's take action, and get excited to do better and to do instead of sort of just think, like make our actions match our thoughts. Okay, well, I think I'm going to leave it there. It's getting pretty long. Thanks for stopping by this week. Let me know if you like this layout or not.